All right, folks, another episode. Today, we're going to finish off this current series about kind of the general state of the union, the world, the reality, and we're going to finish off with all right, so everything's chaotic, everything's collapsing. How do I make progress? And how do you conceive of the progress you're making, right? Because, for me, like that means, well, I'm not going to pay into the financial system, so like is money the way to measure progress? Like, how do we do this? So, just a recap, we already talked about this, but the pyramid system is collapsing. So, there's really no point in climbing it, right? Are you really going to win the next election? Are you really get? Does your raise, your 5% raise, really matter when inflation's 40%? No, the system's collapsing. It can't sustain. What's going on is there's all these pieces of the system and we don't know which one's going to collapse first, and that doesn't mean a bunch of people are going to die in famines or whatever. Don't worry, don't get me wrong, things might get difficult, but people see collapse as very black and white, and it's not. But what is, and what's also not black and white is you can put energy into the system in small ways or in big ways, and really it's about how much you want to commit to building something better versus trying to fix or sustain what's already there, right? And opting in, even if you're not saying, oh, I love the system, I'm just going to take part, every bit of energy you put into it slows the collapse and slows the creation of a new system. You have to say, no, I want something better, and you have to make the conscious choice to opt out as much as you can. And that's an iterative process, and that takes time, that takes multiple choices and decisions, but it's the continual choice to do better. So what do? Go out and take ground. It's very simple. If you see something that needs to be fixed, fix it. And I alluded to money a little bit, and what I've noticed is, I feel a strong sense of purpose toward the people, and I've noticed that the people who are least successful are the ones who try to make money in this time and who try to grift. And there's a big difference between making honest money to sustain yourself and trying to be opportunistic and buy the right stock, or sell t-shirts and hats, which I do, don't get me wrong, but I don't do it to make $1 million. I'm not selling t-shirts because I want to sell a bunch of t-shirts and buy a yacht. I'm selling them because there's a deeper meaning to it. We'll get into that in later episodes, but go out and take ground and be generous. And the best analogy I've come to like about this is this guy, George Washington. So how big do you think his salary was? I'll give you a spoiler alert. He never took a salary. I think he claimed like $100,000 in expenses after the war, which is, a good amount of money back then. But this guy was the general and the first president of the United States, and he barely needed anything to do his job. Made a good amount of money, but made a huge outsized impact, one of the biggest impacts in this realm. So that's not to say you don't need money to survive. Most of us do, or maybe all of us. But don't worry about the money right now. Like, there's bigger things, right? Like, community is more important, family's more important. So if it means dying in the streets, yeah, go make a buck. But if it just means, you get to travel a bit more, buy a bigger boat or whatever, like, focus on the impact you can make. And right now the pyramid's collapsing, which means the people within the pyramid are collapsing, which means you can go out and take ground elsewhere. Look at what happened in Ottawa, right? That shifted the whole sphere of things. Same with the Netherlands, same with all these other smaller, similar events. The establishment's on the back foot. They're not thinking about controlling. They're thinking about saving themselves. And everybody's jumping ship. All the rats are trying to get off the ship. So go out and worry about yourself. Worry about what you can do. Don't worry about who might be watching you, and just take some ground. Do something good. Be generous. Make an impact. Spend every spare moment, every bit of energy and time you have in service to freedom. Building a new system takes time. Keep pushing. Like, it's not going to be overnight. So just keep recentering yourself. Yeah, things are chaotic. You get pushed around. You get whirled around in psychological warfare, but just keep pushing. Don't give up. Greed creates scarcity. Look, do we want to go back to this? No. Generosity creates abundance. That's really all it comes down to. So let's generate a better world. And I'll ask you, if you found this valuable, then please either share it with one person, just one person who might find it valuable, or give me a constructive feedback comment. That's the only price for this. Be generous, help out. Thanks, guys. I'll talk to you tomorrow.